and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to talk about something I am so excited about, which is Magic Kingdom merchandise. I was a ICP in the summer of 2018 and I worked in merchandise. My home location was Walt Disney, but I worked all over the theme parks. I worked in all 4 theme parks. I worked in over 20 different merchandise locations in over 30 different stores, which is crazy, and I loved Magic Kingdom the most. I loved Magic Kingdom with all my heart. I would work Magic Kingdom merchandise again so fast, it's ridiculous. I loved Magic Kingdom merchandise, which sounds so obsessive, but I really did. It was my favorite park to work in by far. Any shift to Magic Kingdom I would take so incredibly fast. If you are looking for Adventureland merchandise, I made an entire separate video on that because Adventureland was my all-time favorite place to work. So that is Agrabah Bazaar and Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you want to check those out, that video should be up at the top on one of these sides. So go check that out. So before we get into anything, I just want to talk a little bit about how, if you're working in merchandise in Magic Kingdom, how that works. I'm not going to get into too much detail about it at all, but basically what you do is you take Transtar or your car to West Clock or Disney University, same thing. The costuming building is right there, right at West Clock. You can get your costume, or if you got it before, that's fine too. I always got mine like right before my shift. Super easy. Then you can get on the West Clock bus, which takes you to the Utilidors. So there's going to be 2 stops, one for like the Fantasyland Storybook Circus area and one for the main entrance. So you go and you enter, and then on your shift, if you are like EHH, there's going to be a little thing that says stairwell number blank. So all you have to do is find that stairwell. There's maps in the tunnels, those places. There's day lockers down there. There's cafeterias down there. The whole bit. It's actually really easy to find your way around. It's kind of like a big circle with like a hallway down the middle. So I worked in all the different lands of Magic Kingdom, and we are just going to start going around them today. To start with, we are going to talk about Main Street, because obviously Main Street. I never worked in the Emporium. I did not like working in bigger stores, so I did in fact work though on Main Street East Zone 3. So that included the Chapeau Shop, the Photo Pass area thing, and Curtain Call Collectibles, which is after you meet Mickey, as well as the 2 carts on the east and west side of Main Street as you enter the park. They're outdoor carts. So those 2 and the shops at the front there. So the costume was the classic Main Street plaid skirt, white shirt, and tie. I thought it was so cute and adorable. I love the plaid. I really did like working on Main Street. It was a very fast-paced atmosphere, which I liked, but at times it did also get really busy. I worked a closing shift, which meant that when everyone was coming out of the park, they were coming directly onto the stores on Main Street. I worked a cart during the like fireworks time out like at the front of the park. That was crazy insane. The Chapeau store was nice. I didn't have like hat embroidery. I was not trained in that, so I just took orders. The Photo Pass place, once again, wasn't Photo Pass trained, so I just rung up orders. You could do like a DIY Magic Band thing, which is what I learned there. That was like their special thing, so I actually did learn that, which was kind of cool. Yeah, it was very nice. The only thing I did not like about it at all was the fact that once we did close up for the night, you had to help out in the confectionery and help the confectionery close, and I did not like that. I don't really like the smell of the confectionery. It's way too sweet for me, so having to like go back and forth putting stuff out on the shelves and that, it was a lot for me to just like take in. It was really nice. The leaders there were really sweet. They wanted, like, if I had any issues with anything, they said to let them know. So that was great. So let's move on to Tomorrowland. And the thing, if you get Tomorrowland merchandise, is Tomorrowland doesn't have certain zones. Tomorrowland is just Tomorrowland. So you could pull like literally anywhere in Tomorrowland to work, because they all have the same costume. So you just go and you figure out what store you're gonna be in that day or that time, because you can switch stores in between as people pull different things from CVS. So basically Tomorrowland costume, shorts, black shoes, and the Tomorrowland shirt. Super basic. There's a belt. Definitely not one of my favorite costumes. Nothing special at all. Because I was EHH and I was not photo trained, that meant I could not work in the Buzz Lightyear gift shop or the Space Mountain gift shop. However, I could work in Mickey Star Traders. The other one, which is like beside Galactic Goodies, I don't remember what it's called, the carts outside, and that was, I believe, it. I was there for a 11.5-hour shift. I never got put on the carts outside, so I have really no experience with that. But I did rotate between Mickey's Star Traders and the other store. The other store at the time had all Incredibles merchandise in it. It was actually the day Incredibles came out, so they had like promo pins and that going on. So that was kind of cool. I met some great people there. Nothing too crazy happened. There is a horrible guest story from that shift, but it was not Tomorrowland's fault at all. The leaders were nice, but they were very Tomorrowland focused. Like, they didn't care as much about the EHH people as some places did, as like other places did, which is fine. But they seemed nice enough. They did seem a little strict, but I mean, it's Disney, so that's what you're gonna get. Overall, it was a really, really great shift. I enjoyed it. Nothing too special. Mickey's Star Traders is cool because you get to see the people mover move by every so often. There's a bunch of different registers. Very, very simple, easy shift. Even though it was long, it did go by pretty fast. Okay, next we're going to talk about Fantasyland. And Fantasyland I might spend a little bit of time talking about here because I worked a bunch of different shifts in Fantasyland. So I worked a Zone 2 shift, a Zone 1 shift, and a early morning floor stock shift, which was not what I thought it was gonna be. So the Zone 2 shift is the first one I worked, and that is just the Winnie the Pooh store. It's really, really cute store. I was always out on the front porch, which is the register outside. I was there for like 10 hours, and they put me outside on that register the whole time, which is fine because it was nighttime for most of it because it was the after hours event that was going on, so it was dead, and basically I just got to like wave around a bubble wand and be like, hello, hi guys, how are you doing today? Have a magical day, all that stuff. I got to wear the purple dress. I loved it. However, I feel like the purple dress did not like flatter me that well. A lot of people were like, oh my gosh, the purple dress, and I was like, it just didn't, it was not as flattering as I thought it would be. It's just kind of confusing because for that one, it said a different stairwell, so it wanted me to go to the Sir Mickey's stock room, when in reality I had to go over like a bunch more stairwells to actually get to the correct mantra system. So it was fine. People directed me the right way. It was totally fine. So the main break room for that area is the Musketeria, which is a little far away, but it is still manageable. They also, the stock room, you have to walk from the mantra through the stock room to on stage, and the stock room is kind of cute because it plays the music from the ride in the background. I could see how that would be annoying if you're like floor stock all in there all day, but as you like walk through, it gives you a little like burst of happy before you go out on stage, so that's really nice. As for Zone 1, this was a crazy shift. This was the longest shift I have ever worked at Disney. It was 14.5 hours long. It was crazy, and it was Zone 1. And it was an opening shift, so I started at 8 a.m. The park opened at 9. I get there, and I'm like, hey, I've never worked here before. Can you like show me where everything is? And the leader there, who was sweet, but she was like, I can't right now because we had a bunch of people call out and we don't have enough staff. And I was like, okay. So 9 o'clock rolls around and I'm in Sir Mickey's and I'm like waiting for someone to give me some instruction, but it's like 9 o'clock and I'm like, we gotta open, but there's no one else in the store. I have never been in this store before, and I'm like, guess I just gotta open the doors. So I just opened the doors and started the day, and at this point it was later in, like it was like the last week of my program, so I was like, I had this like thing that I told myself that was just like, you just gotta do what you gotta do, like, just do it. Like you can't question yourself in a lot of the situations you get as a merchandise cast member in Disney. You just gotta like figure it out yourself. Like you have to be really on your feet with problem solving, and not that this was any sort of a problem that no one was there, but it was just like, guess I'll just open the doors then, which ended up being totally fine. But I was in Sir Mickey's alone for a long time, and me not knowing like anything, and of course you can't really go to the back to find stock when you're alone because like people are just in the store then. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. After that, more people started showing up as the day went on, obviously, and then I was moved over to Fantasy Fair, which is, sorry, I was moved over to Castle Couture first, which is the store with all the princess dresses. I learned how to pixie dust people, which was super cute. I loved pixie dusting people. And then I moved over to Fantasy Fair, which is the shop after PhilharMagic, all hats, and I was walking around there with an iPad trying to help guests for 4.5 hours, and that was like utter distress on that shift. Like it was painful internally. Then I got my break, and then I was back in Fantasy Fair, but on register that time, thank God. And then I got my other break, and then I was in Castle Couture as the sales ambassador is what they called it again. So I had my iPad, but this time it was hectic. I have never run around like a chicken with my head cut off more in my life. I loved it though. I love that kind of hectic. And honestly, it was to a point where that was the end of my shift too. So I was running around like crazy, and I got my bump out and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was sad to finish a 14-hour shift because I was having so much fun running around trying to find princess dresses and sizes and helping guests. And it was great because you got to like put together a princess basically. Like, she'd come in and she'd be like, this is my favorite princess. And then you helped her find like a crown and shoes and a wand and all this stuff. And it was really, really great. I really did love that. The cast members called each other princess, and it was just such a mood. The final shift I did there was a floor stock shift that started at 6:30 in the morning, which you don't realize you have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning until that happens. So I thought it would be great because it finished at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was like, wow, I have the whole rest of the day to myself. So I get there and they tell me on the spot, they're like, you probably won't be good at this because this isn't a traditional floor stock shift and it's mainly for people who are specifically trained in it. We've never had anyone who isn't trained in it do it before. And I was like, wow, okay. So basically what my task was to fill up Squeeze Breeze and water and ice across Fantasyland, which doesn't seem like too harsh of a task. It's a task, let me tell ya. Ice melts like crazy, Squeeze Breezes sell like crazy, water bottles sell even faster. I was running around all of Fantasyland like crazy. I was down in the tunnels, I was up through the tunnels, I was everywhere all around. That shift let me get to know the tunnels so ridiculously well. It was also kind of weird because I got to walk through entertainment, which is like an experience in itself, I swear. But there was just like so much going on. There was always something for me to do. I am such a person that loves to be busy. I got like 30,000 steps on my Fitbit before 2 p.m. that day. It was ridiculous. It was difficult, don't get me wrong, and I did not do it perfect because I wasn't trained in it. But if I was specifically trained in that, I think I may have opted to do that shift like every day just because it was so much exercise. It was a lot of fun. It was just such a fast-paced thing. Next, we are going to talk about working in Liberty Square. Liberty Square was another one of my favorite spots. Liberty Square was actually the first place I ever picked up an EHH shift, and I picked it up at Memento Mori, which is like the shift to get, which I did not know at the time. But getting a Memento Mori shift, first of all, is like unheard of. Getting one as my first EHH shift ever is like, I don't know how I did that. I didn't realize how like sought after it was and how appreciative I was later in my program for like being able to work there just once. I worked with another girl who was EHH, and it was also her first time working there, so there were only 2 of us in the store, so it was a little crazy, but it was a short 6-hour nighttime shift, and I loved it. The other girl, I think her name was like Lexi or something, she was the sweetest person ever, and I'm really sad I never got to see her again. Memento Mori has this thing where they have like the changing head faces, so I guess there were PhotoPass people there too, and they like ring a bell, and then you go get the photo and show people the photo, but they show you how to bring that up, so that's fine. And you get the little skirt, which is fun to just like twirl around it, and it's kind of hot because the doors are open, so the AC doesn't really work. You could hear the Haunted Mansion music on one side and the Fantasyland music on the other side. You could hear wishes going on. It was such a time, honestly. Other than that, you have the Christmas store, which I worked in a couple of times. The costume is something else. You had to wear a bonnet, which itched like crazy. I will admit, I worked in the Christmas store 2 times on my program. I loved it. I loved wishing people a Merry Christmas. It got you in such like a Christmassy mood, and all I can think of is that like wonderful smell in that store. Oh my gosh, just helping people pick up Christmas ornaments and hearing their stories about how every year they come to Disney they get a Christmas ornament. It's just so nice and sweet, and I just wish the costume was better. Like literally you could pick up a shift that was like, not a shift, but like a thing from CVS. What are they called? I don't know. That word is slipping my brain right now. But it would literally say like, go take photos of people on the sled. So you'd like stand outside and be like, hey guys, you want your photo taken on the sled? And you like grab their phone and just take photos of them. Or like there's just so much going on in that store, and it's just really awesome place to work. The last place we're going to talk about today is Frontierland. Frontierland has a lot of different stores. Obviously, there's like Splashdown Gifts after Splash Mountain. There's the Briar Patch store, and then everything in like Upper Frontierland. So there's a lot going on. I worked in Upper Frontierland shift, which is like the general store, and then there's pin traders, and then there's the thing outside. So the first big part of my shift I spent in pin traders. I spent a lot of time in pin traders. One thing that they did have there was the magic band thing, like the DIY magic band or phone case detect thing, which no one actually showed me how to use. So in like Frontierland there, so thankfully I knew it from Main Street still, but they had that there. They had a bunch of pins everywhere, and you got to do a lot of pin trading, which I loved doing. After that I got put out on Big Al's cart, where I got to watch Festival of Fantasy right from the cart while I was working, and I had like the perfect view, and that was a lot of fun. I got to just stand outside with a bubble one in my cute blue skirt and talk to people, and honestly it was just so much fun. The only hiccup that day was I did have like a little bit of a miscommunication as to what I was supposed to be doing. So I had pulled the cart, but the leader thought I had pulled the Squeeze Breeze, so she was sending me to get Squeeze Breeze, which I didn't know the difference because I wasn't sure what each role like entailed when you pulled from CDS. So I was down getting the Squeeze Breeze, but then like there was no one technically on the cart, and it was a big confusion, but it was only like the last hour of my shift, and it wasn't my fault. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. The leaders got it a little messed up, which worked out fine in the end, so no big deal. And that's Magic Kingdom merchandise for you. I hope this video is not too long. I have a feeling it might be. I'm really trying to make my videos shorter, guys. I'm sorry. But overall, Magic Kingdom is an amazing place to work, and if you get it as your role, congratulations, honestly. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Go check out my channel and subscribe. I post new Disney videos all the time, so make sure you go check it out. And thank you so much, and have a magical rest of your day.